Good morning, everybody. Thanks again for joining our first panel session today here with the Reusable Packaging Association. Today, our panel discussion is focused on where products are no longer reusable, how do companies achieve the maximum value and sustainability? And today I'm joined by three of my colleagues that are really experts in this space, so I figured I'd let each of them introduce themselves and their companies briefly. I'll start with Jess.
Howdy everyone, I'm Jess Bonsall. I'm the ESG Director for 4840 Solutions. We are a wood pallet remanufacturing, recycling, redistributing company.
Hi, I'm Damon Williamson. I'm Vice President of Business Development for Camps Pallets. We are a vertically integrated pallet manufacturer and recycler.
And I'm George Altman. I'm the Vice President of Strategic Development for a company called Vantage Plastics. We started as Vantage Plastics 30 years ago tomorrow. We're now a family of companies vertically integrated to do custom plastic products.
Great, and my name's Todd Hoff. I work with the Reusable Packaging Association. So let's get started. My first question to the group today is really, so what are your company's strategies in capturing both the value, but also providing a sustainable impact of reusable or remanufactured or repurposed materials? So George, maybe I'll start with you.
Well, many of our products actually are still in use that were produced like 30 years ago. So the plastic that we utilize is extremely durable and can take a lot of abuse. As we grew as a company in 2016, we added a recycling facility called Edge Material Management. At the time, the idea was that when our customers purchase a product from us, they own the material of that product. The material, plastic material, can move like a commodity up and down in value. They can insulate themselves from that price change because we guarantee to buy back anything that we produce, because we can regrind it, reprocess it, and produce something new. So if the customer, we don't like to say end of life, we say end of use or end of utility, something that Tim talks about. So at that time, if they may have a change in a product that they need a different customized product for, we can use that material that they already own and reprocess it into something that they can use. So there's tremendous value there. Many of them, though, will just sell it back to us, and then we produce something new from it. So.
Great. How about you, Damon?
So for us, it's the first choice is to go to the highest value use of that product. So that means, number one, reuse in the form that it's in. Can we repair that and get it back to a customer, whether it's the original customer or somebody else that will use that size? After that, it's still reuse, but it's reusing the components. It's dismantling and reusing all of the components that are still reusable. And then at the end of that, it is manufacturing a sustainable value-added product, whether it's pellet fuel, colored mulch, etc.
How about you, Jess, from 4840?
Really similar, although we like to think about wood pallets as our raw material, right? We're making wood pallets, and so when we have the opportunity to take a wood pallet back from a customer, that's our raw material. So that raw material feeds the life cycle of our manufacturing processes. So no matter how you're turning it, that pallet continues to have a life, be it as a repaired pallet or be it as a board that's going into a remanufactured pallet.
Great, all great examples. Kind of our second topic today is, what are some of the current limitations that you think exist in the market, whether it be market-based or even manufacturing-based, of incorporating recycled content into your products? So maybe Jess will kind of build on your last answer.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think, and it's going to be different, right, for every different type of material. George, I'm sure you'll have a different perspective. For us, it's really, how do we get those assets back to a manufacturing plant? How do we work with our customers to create the good connection points, both on-site, collecting as those materials are being used, but also then taking advantage of backhaul opportunities? How can we fill up empty miles and be able to get material from a customer site back to a plant and then again back out the door again? So it's creating that loop with feedback from customers and making sure that it's the right fit in the right space to keep those pieces moving and going when they need to and being where they need to be.
Right. Hey, George, I'm curious. In plastics, I read a lot about there's recycled plastic content. There's just less good recycled plastics out there. How do you deal with that in your company?
Well, if I understand the question, I guess, because a lot of our products last so long, you don't necessarily have an abundance of recyclable material sometimes.
Right.
So we're out there constantly with our edge material management. We have an individual that reaches out to used plastic products that we know that are out there. And in our own case, we have products that are not only in the United States, but Mexico, Canada. We're looking at mobile grinding units so that we can densify that plastic before we bring it back to create value in terms of maximizing those loads of material coming back. And I think it's a pretty competitive market because many plastics manufacturers are out there looking for those materials just like we are. So in our case, we have the capacity at this current time to recycle about 20 million pounds of plastic material in the course of the year, given the equipment that we currently have. As we grow, we will expand that capability.
Sure. And how about you, Damon?
So if we're talking about the shortage of material, I would start with there's a shortage of quality material, of the quality cores, the better grades.
Right.
So I think it starts there. And so what do you do about that? Well, for us, it's the investments in the machinery and the technology to dismantle the lowest quality pallets or the standard GMA size, and then of all of the other ones, put that through our process, the urban sawmill line, and be able to reclaim those components and then remanufacture into the higher quality pallet grades that customers are really wanting and in demand. Sure. And that goes along with the entire comprehensive model that I was speaking about earlier.
Great. Kind of our next topic is around take-back programs. George, you introduced this idea. Maybe share with the team, how do you work with your customers in creating a take-back program in your solution?
Well, we promote our take-back program on every quote, every meeting that we have with folks, so that they're well aware of the fact that we guarantee to buy back any product that we manufacture. To Damon's point, we do have to keep an eye on the quality. There are plastics out there that have been compromised with other materials that they've added in, and so we have a pretty thorough testing process that we go through before we will purchase the material to bring them back, so that we know our manufacturing will be consistent with that quality of plastic.
Right. How about you, David?
So Todd, on the take-back program, I think it starts with a collaborative mindset between you and your customer, specifically to take those back in bulk where it's the most economically feasible versus kind of chasing strays. So that's where we start at, is that collaborative mindset, and then implement with that the idea of continuous improvement. So you pick the low-hanging fruit first through that, then continue to work downstream to collect and take back the lesser quantities or the things that are further away.
Sure. Do you have an example you can share with the audience?
Sure. The equipment manufacturer that I was discussing in the prior session, so they run a pallet pool today, and when we started looking at the data, I told them, at the risk of insulting you, you don't run a pallet pool, you run a sieve, because they were losing 50% of the items annually out of their pool. So we started with the improvements that we've had, and now we've identified, and it'll be a 2026 initiative. Where are they not coming back from? They know, because they know where they're going to. So we'll utilize our network of plants, our fleet, and our people, and we'll help them collect those, because it's good for them and it's good for us.
Sure. Great example. How about you, Jess?
Similarly, so take-back programs and providing that opportunity for teams to be able to pick up materials. Then you can even deepen that relationship when you take the opportunity to have folks that are actually in a manufacturing facility, in a warehouse, actively going through that sortation process on site, putting your things that are still good, do not need repair, are ready to go, or of high quality, injecting them right back into your network. And then other items that do need to go out, having someone that can be that kind of porter to say, here, these go out, these go to the right place. and keeping your own supply chain moving on your premises to really add value to what could conceivably be a one-way take-back program.
So, George, I'm curious, do you have an example where this has worked really well?
I think I'm going to switch to a different example.
Okay.
Since we're reusable packaging versus single-use packaging, custom-wise, we had a customer come to us that sort of has an appliance, let's say, that they're delivering to people's homes. And these are being distributed around the world. And what they came to us for was to make little plastic inserts in their cardboard box that would hold the appliance in place so it wouldn't be damaged. One of our designers said, well, why don't you use a completely reusable system? And he designed such. And after they did the ROI on that, they determined that they would go ahead with this reusable package system versus the single use. We will be producing 200,000 of those, and we expect that each one of them will be able to be used 200 times. The cardboard and associated items, we estimated conservatively, would be 29 pounds of material. If you do the multiplication on that, that's 11,600,000,000 pounds of one-time use stuff that would have ended up in a landfill or something that we replaced with this. Now, what I really like about the RPA is that we're doing a lot of interactions with other organizations, and I know that they're starting to develop formulas now that will let you make an objective decision on the finance of what you do or not, comparing single use with reusables and so forth. So obviously in some cases you're going to get some fallout of those products, the 200 times that I would suggest that it could be used. And what we have found that some people like these so much that they're actually asking them to leave them on their premises because they convert them into a little garden space. They fill it with dirt and they grow stuff. So that's a pretty sustainable story.
Sir, great story, great example. Kind of my next question is, as we talk about take-back programs, how do you think about starting to collect, getting things back? And I know all your companies do this differently. So I'm curious, Jess, how do you set up that return loop? How do you get it back, sustainability, so you don't lose 50% or some of the examples we've heard today?
The sieve, right? Yeah, I mean, I think it's unique for every customer because there's you're going to have customers with networks that have good connection points that you can easily leverage into, but that's not always the case, right? So sometimes it may make more sense to have an on-site solution where you have people there that are facilitating that take-back process, or it may make sense to broaden out and be taking advantage of backhaul, finding those empty miles in your network and then kind of picking up along the way. So I think it's there's never a one size fits all, right? There's all kinds of different interesting ways that we can collaborate. And I think it's that conversation, taking that opportunity with your supplier to say, hey, this is what my network looks like. This is what I do know. This is what I don't know. And then finding that right answer for what works for you and what works for your business.
Great. And Damon, tell us a little more examples about the take back and the empty miles. Maybe explain how your company works with customers.
I would say it starts with the mindset of we'll take it all back versus just the low-hanging fruit. Let us decide. Keep it in your loop. Keep it in the reuse ability. So start from that mindset and then let us clearly define a process of how we're going to arrange the pickup and freight to reduce the miles and who's in charge of that, what reporting is going to come back to you, and in what frequency are we going to review the program and look for enhancements. I think that's the biggest thing. And then be very transparent about the data. Your program may be really good, but you may not be doing really well in this one instance. So be transparent with the data and start from the mindset that we're going to do it all. Let us decide.
Exactly. So George, I'm curious, when you take something back, how do you work with your customers to get that reverse flow and the closed loop happening?
I think just as what the two colleagues here mentioned, the same kind of approach, a collaborative We have several trucks of material that are coming in every day, from our customers coming back and from others that we go on and we find, fleets of plastic pallets that are out there or plastic products that we can utilize and repurpose. So.
Great. So I'm curious. So the Reusable Packaging Association is now 25 years old now. People get reuse. Maybe tell me what's going to happen next. What are some of those new ideas that your companies are looking at to either reuse, repurpose, or recycle some of those materials in your supply chains? And Damon, maybe start with you first.
Yeah, I'm going to say that one of the big challenges that a lot of customers have is their automated systems and the high quality that demands. So traditionally that might involve, it would have to be a new pallet, something that met exacting standards up front. I think we're at the point in our industries where the machinery, the AI learning, the scanning, and all of that works together so that more reused, recycled content can be put into those automated systems. I think that's the next step.
Good. How about you, George?
Well, I think we're doing more and more things that involve automation as well. And we're also beginning to introduce artificial intelligence or AI so we can keep better track, using the data in terms of how long something's been out there in the field. When it might, there might be a changeover. We do a lot of work with the automotive industry. We're a General Motors Supplier of the Year in 2023, so we're very collaborative with our customers. Pretty much every automotive supplier or company that you can name is a customer of ours. So we keep very close contact with them. Our representatives are very well embedded within their organizations. I think with ISO, you're trying to figure out know before the customer knows what they don't know already. So that's kind of the thinking that we use. So.
Great examples. And how about you, Jess? What do you do with that material when you can no longer use it? What do you do out of the box?
Yeah, no, it's an interesting question. So again, I think there's wood as a raw material, has a lot of other applications, right? So at our plants, if we're at a point where that pallet is no longer of good quality, right? It can't necessarily support automation, or it's had too many repairs in place. It has to be torn down, can't be remanufactured into boards. What do you do with it? Number of really great things, and some of it's homegrown. It's supporting communities with things like a fire school, and these are pallets that are donated to support the fire school. Or it's grinding that material into mulch and donating that to an animal shelter or to a park, right? Creating walkways and some really unique spaces. But on the other end of the spectrum is the technology side. So we are partnering with a company that produces biochar. Biochar is a material that's really important in the agricultural industry and petrochemical, in plastics, as either for a soil amendment, for improving production, or for creating products. So our wood material then, once it's ground, is put through what's called a pyrolysis process. It's incinerated at a really high temperature, and it creates biochar on the back end. So it's a different way of thinking about a second life, taking wood, turning it into something completely different, and then giving it another space to go into other purposes and other processes to continue that life cycle down the road.
Really out of the box.
Super out of the box and really cool.
That's excellent. We'll maybe take 5 minutes for questions from the audience.
All right. Thank you for the discussion. It was very informative. So I guess someone had mentioned like a standardized tool for deciding like if the return on investment for the reusing the packaging products was going to. Could you guys elaborate a little bit more on that tool, and like if life cycle assessment tools also come into play there, or is it mostly like a economic, like ROI decision? Thank you.
Good, thank you. So let me restate the question is what kind of tools do you use with your customers to really understand the ROI, both the economic or the sustainable benefits of putting a reuse system or incorporating recycled materials in? What tools do you use with your customers?
Tim referred to the chartered Before I started in this industry, I was actually a chartered financial consultant. So basically, for customers that are really looking for their return on investment, it's quite a formula. So we try to work through with that, looking at the costs that they might incur for the single-use sort of packaging versus, maybe a more upfront cost with us. But you have to consider the duration of it. Jess, I think a year or so ago, talked about how sustainability is a journey. And we're kind of on that journey of resetting our minds as to the way we're approaching packaging. We're doing it the same old in a lot of ways. And with automation and a lot of things coming on board in AI, there are a lot more sophisticated ways to look at it. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that's...
So from an ROI, economic, what about from a sustainability ROI?
Yeah, so you mentioned LCAs, right? The life cycle assessment or life cycle analysis. A lot of companies do use LCAs as the basis. We at 4840 use our industry LCA as the basis for helping to understand impact. Customer use cases comes into play because that influences the number of turns that a pallet can make within a network. So all of that gets layered together, and honestly, it ties directly to the financial component, right? Understanding how many turns can that pallet make ties back to your dollars, right?
Yep.
Understanding your network connectivity ties back to the dollars. So it's a bit of both. It's tying in the LCA and having good input for the intensity, the carbon intensity, and the impact of that product back to your actual use case, layering in the turns, and then starting to make that analysis. And I know the RPA has some tools that are available to RPA members to help kind of deepen that understanding and really get into things.
Great, thank you very much. So again, to kind of wrap up our session today, what's the one thing our audience needs to think about reusables? How do you repurpose at end of life or end of use? So what's the one thing you would leave our audience today from our session? Maybe Jess.
Oh, the one thing, what is good, what is great. But I think there is a strong use case for reusables, both from a financial side as well as from an environmental or sustainability impact side. It comes down to understanding your operations and knowing how to really complete that loop and make those connection points. And I think all of the members of the RPA that are here, that are out presenting in booths, are here to help y'all with that, right? Reusable packaging is a fantastic investment to make, whether it's in a plastic space, a wood space, or another space. And there's a right use case for the product that you want to lean into.
I would say very simply, we are at the nexus of where a company attaining their stated environmental goals and achieving cost savings, those two things aren't divergent today. They are at a nexus where both are possible simultaneously. We can help you do both at the same time with documented cases and success stories.
How about you, George?
Yeah, I think plastics often gets kind of a bad rap, in the press for the single-use kind of consumer plastics. And plastic by definition is just something that you can mold, and we're constantly doing research into new materials, biodegradable materials that we can use that are plastic. So we're constantly doing that. We're working with companies that are retrieving consumer plastics. There's a company up in Vancouver, Washington, that is claiming plastics out of the ocean. We've worked with them to try to look at ways to utilize that plastic that's in a place where it shouldn't be and make a home for that sort of thing. So I guess, in plastics, because we custom build things, we've got customers where we were able to increase density by a patented design that we came up with that saved over 2 million miles of transportation across the road. That translated into about $1 million of savings for that company. So we're constantly pushing the envelope with the things that we're doing. So I guess that's the one thing I would leave us with.
Great. Great. Well, thank you very much. Again, if you don't follow the Reusable Packaging Association, find us on LinkedIn. Pretty much every day there's something new happening in our space. It's a great way to follow what's happening and getting involved in the Reusable Packaging Association. Good. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.